Yeah, I think it's normally called Saturday brunch. Yeah, you're right. So we'll get that back in. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the UU community of Halifax. My name is Ben Robbins, and I am glad to be your minister. We are a community of open minds, helping hands, and loving hearts. We nurture personal and spiritual growth, practice inclusiveness, celebrate diversity, and affirm individual and collective commitment to community service and social justice. We come together to reflect on life, what it's like to be human, and to be on this human journey in this universe. We care about the whole human experience, even the personal sides of life that we don't always share. Today, we explore intimacy and boundaries. Thank you to our volunteers and staff who make our services possible. We have Riley on tech, Tristan on keys, Andrew is our service assistant, Christy runs the kids program. Thank you so much. Andrew.
Not quite as tall. We are gathered today on the shores of Djibouti, on the unceded land of the Mi'kmaq people here in Mi'kma'ki, which includes the place that we also call Nova Scotia. The Mi'kmaq have lived here for thousands of years, and we are thankful for the land, water, and all the living things that they have cared for all this time. Newcomers, now called settlers, arrived just a few hundred years ago. At that time, treaties were signed, promising that all the people here would live together in peace and friendship. Now, we are all treaty people, trying to follow those promises. Now, there is a blank space in this with the name of whoever is lighting the chalice. Do you know? Oh, it was Lewin. Lewin, are you? And Mary Frances? Okay.
Oh, and Flannery. Flannery and Mary Frances.
Flannery, are you willing to light the chalice for us today? Today, Flannery will light the chalice. And here are our chalice lighting words. We gather together today, sitting in separate chairs or separate Zoom rooms. And yet, in this moment, we unite in welcoming peace, love, and community into the room with us. We weave our lives together, and still we maintain our own sense of self. We reveal more of ourselves here than we might elsewhere. And even here, there is more to us than we show. We each live a human life in all of its fullness. And with the lighting of this chalice, we share life. Our opening hymn is Wake Now My Senses. The lyrics are going up on the screens. If you would like one of the gray hymnals, those are also easily available. Please rise in body or spirit.
now is the time for children for all ages. So if the smaller members of the congregation want to come and have a seat with me, that would be wonderful. Hi, it's just us today. That's exciting. So upstairs, while you all are doing boring adult stuff, we have been having the best time ever. And we've been exploring love and how, oh, there we go, and how, and how love enters our lives. The first week we explored the love that we give ourselves. And the second week, we explored the love that we give our friends. And this week, we're talking about the love that we receive and give with our families. So the book that we're reading today is called The Family Book by Todd Parr. He's one of my favorite children's authors. Big, bright colors. And there's a really beautiful message in here, and I hope you all enjoy the book. So there's a dedication at the beginning of the book, and a dedication is where the writers or the illustrators, the drawers of the book can say, I dedicate this work, I give this work that I created to someone special in my life. And here it says, to my family, who sometimes did not understand me, but encouraged me to go after everything I wanted, even when we did not agree. As I now realize, this takes a lot of love to do. So, some families are big. Look at all those bunnies. Some families are small. That's just me and baby. Some families are the same color. And some families are different colors. All families like to hug each other, but not everybody likes hugs. And that's okay. Some families live near each other. Some families live far from each other. Oh, look at these aliens. They're on different planets. Some families look alike, like me and Sebastian. Some families look like their pets. All families are sad when they lose someone they love. Oh no. Some families have a stepmom or stepdad and stepsisters or stepbrothers. Some families adopt children. Some families have two moms or two dads. Some families have one parent instead of two. All families like to celebrate special days together. Can you guys tell what's going on in that picture? What are they doing? A birthday. How old is somebody turning? 100 years old. Some families eat the same things. Some families eat different things. Carrot. What's that? Fish and a bone. Some families like to be quiet. Some families like to be noisy. Do you have a noisy or a quiet family? Noisy? What about you, Sebastian? It's a test. I don't know what he's talking about. Some families like to be clean. Some families like to be messy. Some families live in a house by themselves, and some families share a house with other families. Hi. All families can help each other be strong. Uh-oh. My inner librarian is stressing about the state of this book. It's fine. We're not bothered. There are lots of different ways to be a family. Your family is special, no matter what kind it is. Love, Todd. The end. And now we're going to sing the children out, and I'm spiriting them away.
For joys, sorrows, and complex truths. We bring our hearts into this sacred space of community and open them up to each other and for each other, so that those of us who carry pain might be comforted by the presence of a loving community, so that those of us who are happy might share their joy and see it multiply in others, and so that those of us who carry complex truths might find a welcoming space to process the meaning-making in your life. This is our communal well that holds all of our stories, and the water can remind us of our connection to all life and to the earth itself. If you have a joy, sorrow, or complex truth in your heart to speak into the community, we invite you to share and to place a stone into the well. You might also want to place a stone in silence. So if you are willing, please use this microphone to speak from near the well so the folks up there on Zoom can see you. Anybody?
Hi, my name is Amy, and my prayers are for the people that own the Pleasant Street Diner and the other businesses that are in that little mall in Dartmouth, because went by there on Friday and there's been a fire and the whole place is all closed down. There's a pharmacy, a restaurant, some other little businesses, and so there were no signs, no anything, just closed. So concern for all the people that work there and whoever it is that owns the properties. Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Okay. I will place one more stone then for all of the sorrows, joys, and complex truths that remain unspoken in our hearts. And that means it is now time for our offering. The work of this community is made possible by donations of time, of talent, and of money. Thank you for however you give. And we trust that you will give however much is right for you. Most donate monthly or weekly by e-transfer. Me, for instance. And we do also pass the basket for those of you who use physical currency. Today, the basket goes to the operating fund. Whatever your situation, thank you for being part of this community. I'm going to demonstrate. And I will demonstrate using e-transfer.
I look forward to endless e-transfers every Sunday.
They are not large at any time, but they do in fact add up. And now, Ben's reflection.
We'll go straight into the reflection because there's a couple of musical interludes in it. I also want to say I forgot to take my muscle tremor medication this morning, so you might notice that. Marilyn Sewell was the minister of First Unitarian in Portland, Oregon. And she helped grow the congregation to well over 1,000 people, including the mayor of Portland was a member. I think part of her strength was that she kept things real, and she had a clear boundary. Before she was a minister, she was a social worker, deeply encountering real people living real lives, often with no easy answers. She became a mother of 2 boys, encountering raw humanity in them and also in herself. She studied writing, including with Wendell Berry, and she was told to take the mask off and get as real on the page as she was in real life. As a student minister, her mentor was a former president of the Unitarian Universalist Association. She chose him because he was an expert at using power in a congregation. She wanted to learn how to pull strings behind the scenes to help the congregation thrive. When she applied to First Portland, this powerful mentor told her, choose a boring topic for your audition sermon. It's actually called a candidating sermon, but her audition sermon. Choose a boring topic. They will love you, so don't take any risks. Just be safe and get the job. But Marilyn Sewell decided to aim higher. She decided to show the congregation who she was so that they were choosing the real her. So for her audition sermon, she chose as her theme, the erotic. The erotic was an important part of her life, and she didn't want to leave it behind when she signed her contract. Now, I don't know what she said. She didn't share the sermon, but I believe her that she kept it real. She honored this part of human nature, and the congregation chose her for who she was. She also had a clear boundary. I know someone who was a member there who told me that she very much was not trying to be your friend, let alone your lover. So for some of us, the erotic is a normal part of life, along with everything else. For some of us, it's an extra special part of life. For some of us, it's never been a part of life. And some of us perhaps can resonate with that Walt Whitman poem, which I'll paraphrase, which is basically, from the embers of the past, we might find that the fire reignites. When I was a student minister at First Unitarian in Toronto, I found the congregation was a bit more formal than any congregation I had encountered before. People were still real people and lovely, but as far as I could tell, some parts of life were not being highlighted in Sunday mornings, including the erotic. I was scheduled to speak on what just happened to be the first Sunday of Advent. Now, Advent can be a time of waiting. So waiting for goodness, waiting for the birth of something new. And I thought waiting is not something that UUs are naturally good at. We tend to take action rather than wait. So I decided to do a sermon on waiting. Before I wrote the sermon, I had the title from Madonna lyrics: Wanting, Needing, Waiting. I thought that was an awesome Advent title. I didn't watch Madonna's music video before choosing the title. But when it was time to write the sermon, I thought I better watch the service, the video. So the video starts with Madonna walking down a hotel corridor. With her eyes closed, she pauses. She leans against the wall of the corridor. She turns her back against the wall. Her knees bend a little bit. She collapses down the wall a little bit. Images flash of people being sexy in hotel rooms. And the music comes on, music of the sirens. And she says, I want to kiss you in Paris. I want to hold your hand in Rome. So it's sexy. And she becomes so enraptured that she can only get one word out at a time, rhythmically on the pulse of the beat. Wanting, needing, waiting for you. It's a sexy song. So I sit there at my desk with only a title, needing to get this sermon done. This is in the old days when I did sermons on Saturday nights. So should I include the sexy lyrics? I want to ask my supervisor for advice, but he's away. He's not available. So I make the decision. I'm going to describe the sexy Madonna video to introduce the theme of Advent, of wanting, needing, and waiting. So Sunday morning comes, I'm sitting up there on the chancel with my script, 200 faces looking at me. I'm scared I'm gonna break a sexual taboo. And then the service leader says to the room, I have an announcement. We are holding auditions this week because we are putting on a production of the vagina monologues. So got the energy in the room. Dozens of people audition. They sell out 2 shows, that's over 450 people attending, in addition to a large cast. So with the service leader's announcement, suddenly my Madonna imagery is an hors d'oeuvre instead of a transgression. And the vagina monologues was so powerful, like theatrically talking about things that too often have been hidden or shamed, including the erotic, but much more than that. Friends brought their teenage kids to see it. It felt like a collective honoring of an important part of life. And then life went on. Did they ever honor the erotic again on a Sunday morning? I actually don't know. My development soon took me elsewhere. But my sense is that making room for the intimately simply rounded out human life. Life went mostly on the same, perhaps a bit more open, healthy, and whole. One more opening story. I was at a 5-day dance event over New Year's Eve. And this is almost 20 years ago. So on New Year's, well after midnight, maybe 15 of us were still dancing in the kitchen dining area. The dancing was fun, but I thought it could use a little something extra. So I went up to the Dance Center library and I grabbed Anais Nin's book of erotic short stories. And they're sexy stories, and I brought them back to the kitchen and I left it beside the CD player. And then I waited. Someone picked it up, turned down the music, and said, hey, someone left Delta of Venus by the boombox. Someone said, read it out loud. And she did. She just started reading an erotic short story. Now, this New Year's event was an improv dance event. So people started doing interpretive dancing of Delta of Venus. And it was very sexy. It was fully clothed, somewhat modest, but it was erotic without being pornographic, but it was super sexy. Lots of laughter and playfulness. Eros was in the air. And then eventually people dispersed, some to sleep, some to other rhythms of the night. And then life went on. Later that week, I talked about it with other dancers. Someone said, that was very fun. Someone else said, I don't want that happening in a public space. And where I landed was, it's okay if a New Year's dance retreat spontaneously gets somewhat carried away late at night, but I would not want that to be a goal or an expectation. There's room for Eros to bubble up. A few years later, after I left, the Dance Center started occasionally hosting events that combine sex and dance, put on by a group from Berlin. I didn't attend any, but some friends did. But a friend told me that she went to an improv dance event in Berlin. A lot of those people were there. And every man she danced with invited her to a sex party. So on that New Year's night, I thought we can handle a little spice, but if you open a door, Eros can overstep its way in. There's a yoga retreat center where the volunteers have to take a vow of celibacy. So no nookie while living at this retreat center. One of the volunteers told me, when you make rules against sex, people have sex in closets. So those feelings need an outlet. Religions that demand celibacy are typically not sexually safe places to be. We sometimes offer a program called Our Whole Lives. There's a program for every age group, and in the program for teenagers, we tell them that sexual pleasure is a good and healthy part of being human. But when we host youth conferences, we say no nookie. So we want the weekend to be about friendship and community, and nookie can be distracting and exclusive. So we teach sexuality is good, but we need this boundary not at youth conferences. And much to my surprise when I became a youth advisor, it sometimes happens that at youth cons, the organizers say no nookie, and they put condoms in the bathrooms just in case. So if they're gonna do it anyway, they might as well be safe. And before we host a youth conference, we could have a conversation about what we wanted to do. So the erotic is a powerful force. Somehow there needs to be room for it in society without it getting out of control. Some cultures welcome getting out of control at special times, like the annual celebration of Saturnalia, a frenzy of no inhibitions. You just celebrate the erotic, let it run free, but in this container of an annual festival. Some of the baby boomers might remember a little cultural explosion of free love, 60s and 70s. A lot of things happened in Unitarian congregations. The history book Unitarians in Canada is a dry read, and it has the word hot tub in it. So, how much of the erotic do we want to welcome into the room this morning? And before I answer that question, I want to be clear. I'm happily married and monogamous, and even if I wasn't, I have a very clear boundary around sexuality and romance. And I need that boundary with you so that we can have intimate conversations about life, knowing that there is no hidden agenda. I almost gave today's service a sexy title. It's called Eros and Boundaries, but I almost named it after an Ani DiFranco lyric. Ani DiFranco has a song called Both Hands, and she sings, both hands, now use both hands, oh no, don't close your eyes. I'm writing graffiti on your body. I'm drawing the story of how hard we tried. So I tentatively called the service, I am writing graffiti on your body. So can you imagine if the sign out front for a whole week said, I am writing graffiti on your body? Huh? 200. You get 200 people, yeah. Well, I imagine it would attract people who were interested in sacred sexuality. And sacred sexuality is fabulous. And I decided to call the service Eros and Boundaries because I want to be absolutely clear that I myself have a clear boundary, and my sense is that this congregation values boundaries around intimacy. And I considered asking someone to sing that Ani DeFranco song for us, but it felt too intimate to me to have a live human authentically singing that song in this context. But I thought if we listen to Ani DeFranco sing it, I think it'll work. A celebration of the erotic without it being too much. So as Riley sets up the video, I just want to say that while Ani is playing guitar, you might imagine that she is playing her lover's body. So Riley, go ahead.
I am walking out in the rain, and I am listening to the low moan of the dial tone again, and I am getting nowhere with you, and I can't let it go, and I can't get through. And the old woman behind the pink curtains and the closed door on the first floor, she's listening through the air shaft to see how long a swan song can last. And both hands, now use both hands. Oh no, don't close your eyes. I am writing graffiti on your body. I am drawing the story of how hard we tried. How hard we tried. And I am watching your chest rise and fall like the tides of my life, and the rest of it all. And your bones have been my bed frame, and your flesh has been my pillow. I've been waiting for sleep to offer up the deep with both hands. Oh, with both hands. And in each other's shadow we grew less and less tall, and eventually our theories couldn't explain it all. And I'm recording our history now on the bedroom wall, and when we leave the landlord will come and paint over it all. And I'm walking out in the rain, and I am listening to the low moan of the dial tone again, and I am getting nowhere with you, and I can't let it go, and I can't get through. And both hands, please use both hands. Oh no, don't close your eyes. I am writing graffiti on your body. I am drawing the story of how hard we tried. How hard we tried. How hard we tried.
think that song can awaken something. And the song honors that intimate relationships can be roller coasters. You know, both the pillow talk and unanswered dial tones and solo walks in the rain and not getting through. There's a book published in 1934 called Sex and Culture. The author studied 80 indigenous cultures and 6 civilizations and concluded that when sexual boundaries come down, society falls apart. Haven't read the book, but I think that the claim is that when the erotic leaves the bedroom, it will eventually disrupt everything until an authoritarian rises up to put the genie back in the bottle. And so the cabaret culture of 1920s Germany went hand in hand with the rise of fascism. I'm not making that case myself, and I'm very wary that the book could be used to justify oppressive beliefs, but I think the argument is within the range of reasonable discourse. If the erotic is uncorked, it can make a mess. When I lived at an improv dance retreat center, it was in a rural area near a very small town. So compared to our artistic free spirits, the town folks seemed straight-laced. They were not wearing the erotic on their sleeves. I thought their idea of a good time seemed to be a corn roast at the fire station, which was very fun. But one time, the local church was having a yard sale, and I went to check out the yard sale. And I was looking at the clothing, and one of the church ladies held up some lingerie and asked me with a spark in her eye if I might have someone to give the lingerie to. And a couple of other church ladies gathered around, and they all seemed to agree that it would be a wonderful thing if this lingerie found a new home. So the erotic was there in the small town. It just wasn't flaunted. I like that some of my friends are very sexually free. And one time I hosted a storytelling event, and we all sat on cushions or on the edge of the living room. Towards the end of the evening, I went to the kitchen to clean up, and when I came back, almost everyone was cuddling. Now, cuddling is great, but it is not what I wanted for my storytelling event. Somehow, I want to honor Eros today here with you, but when we come back next Sunday, it will still be the UU community of Halifax, and people crossing your boundary isn't really a thing. The goal is that the service helps some people connect to their whole selves, and that this community honors for what for many is an important part of life, and then basically life goes on, perhaps a bit more healthy and whole. But while we're here today, I want to go a little bit further than Ani DeFranco in honoring the erotic. I want to bring in Beethoven and his piece for Elisa. So Riley, would you please play the first 15 seconds? So this piece is too often played as if it was written for a typewriter. The piano player just methodically goes over the notes, good technique, but no soul. But Beethoven did not write this piece for a typewriter. He wrote this piece for his lover. So Furry Lisa means for Lisa, and Lisa was his lover. This piano player is better than most, but he needs to be more intuitive with his timing. He needs to let some of the notes linger. He needs to let the music breathe. He needs to imagine that he's not playing a piano, he's playing his lover. Every note, a sensation and a feeling. Not playing a piano, he's playing his lover. So Riley, go ahead and continue the video. I went straight to the closing song after that. So let's finish by singing our closing song. It's by the Beatles, and it's called Come Together. Lyrics are going up on the screen. If you're not sure of the timing, just go for it and have fun with it. Yeah, so please rise and body your spirit. You got any energy in your body, just let it out in this song. Please, please be seated. So the erotic can be an awesome part of life, and it can also get out of hand without boundaries. So today at noon, right here, we will discuss intimacy and boundaries. And if you think that the service was too much, you are welcome to let me know. And now Andrew will extinguish the chalice.
Or I could use the stool and be tall. As we extinguish our chalice, may we carry in our hearts the glow of love, the light of truth, the fire of commitment, and the power of transformation. As mentioned, right here at noon, we have a discussion on intimacy and boundaries. Also, there are a variety of other things in the service program for various announcements, but particularly if you are coming to the spaghetti dinner on the 28th of February, please add your name to the list.
On the coffee table.
On the coffee table.
Or email us if you're on Zoom.
Or by email if you're on Zoom. There is now, speaking of the coffee table, coffee in the social hall. The service is now over. Go in peace.